Right then, so we're on to another video that loads of people's asked for. Every time I see it in background on a track day, we get a couple of people saying, when you're going to do a video on it? And today seems to be the day. So this is Steph, SRS Automotive's van. He got this off me, begged it off me 5 years ago and got it for absolutely nothing. And at that point, it was a 2 litre BKD, so PD engine, and that was running 340, 350 horsepower, and it was ridiculous. I don't think we really did any videos on it or out like that. We didn't really do much of the social media side of things other than an odd Facebook post now and again. But it was crazy, absolutely mental. Front wheel drive, so it just wheel spun all the time. Had plenty of decent races with stuff when I had it. It was really good. But obviously, the BKDs can only go so far. So we've pushed it a bit further forward, which we'll have a look around what it is now in a second. But this was just, I think I got it 10 years ago maybe, something like that. It might be longer, I'd have to check. Started out as a 1.9 that had thrown a rod like they normally do. Got no oil in it, so that were expected. Converted to the BKD, it went through a few phases, ended up at the 350. Then as soon as Steph got it, I think he had it for a year or so in that sort of spec, maybe a bit longer. And then sort of wanted to do a few extra little bits and bats, so started playing about with it. And then, I don't think engine blew or out like that, I just think he got a bit bored of it. So, a couple of years ago, decided to rip it down and go absolutely mental on it. So we'll have a look under the bonnet first, and then we'll have a quick look around everything else. So under here there's a very scruffy 2 litre common rail. So this is the oval port again, the same as what's in the Citigo, Arosa, Ibiza, all that sort of stuff. But this one's a little bit special. At the minute it's just a Bogo engine with a GTB 2260 with our turbo kit and all that sort of stuff. So tube wheel manifold, 3-inch downpipe, sorry, 2.5-inch downpipe on this. And the reason it's got a 2.5-inch downpipe was because of this thing here that you can't really see much of it, but that there is a 7-speed DSG gearbox. So that's from the Tiguan. The RS3 and the TTRS and the transporter vans, they all run a similar gearbox to this, but obviously this is the only transverse 4-cylinder 4-wheel drive one that's not in the van. So where this is unique, the Tiguan had the 4Motion system as well, so that's why we've had to have the 2.5-inch downpipe. You physically can't get a 3-inch through the bulkhead. So what we'll do, once we've had a quick walk around here, we'll get it in workshop and we'll have a look underneath and you'll see what we've had to do to make all this stuff fit. But it's got all different brake hoses on it, all that sort of stuff. But we'll talk about all that later. So since I got it, Steph went a bit mad with aero stuff. I don't think it works as good as he thinks it does, but it sticks to the road pretty good. S3 cooler, all that sort of stuff, but we'll talk about the cooling system when we've got it all off. It's got 6-pot KM brakes on the ML discs. We sell all that on website. These Automotive wheels seem to get a lot of people excited. They fit absolutely perfect, really fitting nicely with van. If we open the doors, see it's got a fairly substantial roll cage and quite a lot of thought had to go into it when we dropped it off at Slide for all the everywhere where the bars are sort of designed around it being a daily driver and still a usable van. So like the rear strut brace in there, that's all removable, so you could still get a pallet in back of this and no problem. You can see the fuel filler is inside. We've had to make a custom tank on this, which has been an absolute pain. There's always something wrong with an aluminium tank, so if you can avoid it, try and get the factory one in there. just speaking to Steph about it earlier, the reason why he had to go for a custom tank, he thinks, is when they've mounted the subframe up, they've tried keeping everything as sort of tight up to the underneath of the body as they could, and that stopped him being able to get a factory tank in. What it looks like a lot of other people do. There's a lot of bodged up versions of these. I think this is probably going to be up there with one of the neatest ones, but it's not the most factory one. What most people do is put the tank in and then make the axle fit that. So that's what he should have done, but you live and learn. So you can see, obviously we're at the wrong side really, but you can see it's got nice paddles on deep dish steering wheel. So if we ever go DSG on our Golf, we'll be doing a very similar thing to this. Got some Corbeil bucket seats, DSG shifter, all been re-trimmed and everything. So Purapu did all re-trimming for Steph. All in the back's all flocked, which Steph did the flocking, but he's not really bothered about doing it anymore. He don't like doing it. So yeah, it's pretty unique really. The turrets in the back, I don't know if I can see them a bit better from it back doors. If the door will open, it's a Caddy. They never want to open. Absolute pain. But the turrets, pardon me, they're quite unique. I don't think we've seen anybody do them like this, but they're basically housing the custom struts that we'll get a look under when we pull it in. And then moving on to the back, obviously we've got the front splitter, so you need to obviously you can't just have all the grip on the front end, because most cars, definitely this van, will have lift on the rear anyway, so really it's more important to have something on the back than the front. So it's got a bit in the diffuser. I don't think that's going to do too much, and the exhaust hidden in the middle of it, just under there, and then made a little ducktail spoiler as well, which that'll probably do more slowing down than sticking it to the ground, but I think it looks the part. It's not too in your face. Maybe them front canards are a little bit too much, but everything else is fairly tasteful. So I'll jump in it, pull into the workshop, and we'll get underneath it and see what's what. So finally got it on the ramp, and you can see running this sort of stuff on a daily driven van when you've got a drive that's as steep as out is just ridiculous. Exhaust comes out in a nice place though, not that it's easy to get it to work. So it's pretty hard with that diffuser on to see everything, but you can see Ian at KTS did a nice job of powder coating everything, but then when Cookie put it in gravel, when they got ABS pipes wrong way around, that didn't help things. Get a bit of gravel rash, and a few things have gone a bit rusty looking at it and a bit peppered. But basically this is like an aluminium, I think it's an S3 rear axle, something along them lines anyway. It needed a slight modification. You see this bracket here that needed to be made to fit the Tiguan diff, because the Tiguan diff is totally different to all the others. So basically there's been a subframe made, some mounting points for the subframe have been made and welded in as part of all the sort of underbody stuff, but the chassis rails at this side are all fine, but then this piece here were all grafted in for the sort of trailing arm. These are the aero bits that come on some of the Audi A3s and stuff, but this bit were all grafted in. But it looks quite factory, it's all had the Raptor liner on it after as well. So there's that much going on, it's like, what do we talk about first? But it's basically a full factory axle, but the only thing that we sort of thought were a good compromise was the rear spring arm. This is where normally you've got the big arm, which we'll put a picture up with a spring in it, and it goes up to the body. Rather than putting all that extra material back in there and having a really short spring and playing about with that, decided to get KW to knock up some custom length struts, coilover struts, hence the notch on the chassis and the little well inside, the little sort of compartment for it to fit inside. But that makes it just so much easier to adjust than the original type, and it just went a little bit more it was a chicken and egg situation. You had to order the arm and the shocks and all, make the arm, make the shock and all this stuff. Where if doing it this way around, it was fairly easy to get the arm and sort of the ride out where it wanted to be. But anyway, it took a fair bit of work when it was at slide to get that sorted, and Steph back and forth a few times because he's quite finicky. But it all got sorted in the end. So it's got aluminium rear hubs as well. Obviously you can see the dry shafts going in. This is the custom tank, which there's a lot for it to sort of dodge around, like the exhaust quite close in place because that can only go in one specific place. Everything expands that much, you've got to sort of make it so that you've got plenty of room when it gets longer, so that's why there's a big gap there. So yeah, moving forward, one silencer in it, which at the minute it's not too noisy. Maybe when it's got the bigger turbo it might get a little bit too noisy, but we'll see. All the factory aero stuff gone on. This was the main thing that needed mounting in the tunnel. The tunnel itself is standard, it just needed some welding and a bit of fabricating to get the centre prop bearing in there. The prop's been shortened a little bit as well, which we hope that we could just get away with a factory prop, but though I think only half an inch, something like that to get it right. And then you can see up there, I had to get my torch on my phone to see if you can see up there all the tubular manifold and stuff. I'll return everything up there. So what we have got the plan to do, if it'll work, is bottom mount that turbo, but we'll have a look at that in a bit. So it's got the full power flex. These are the, I can't remember what they're called, anti-lift, caster, adjusting, whatever. These are the sort of caster adding bushes anyway, so it's got the different ones in the front, these ones at the back. This is all the TT wide track front as well, so the arms are the cast aluminium ones, cast aluminium hubs with a better geometry, which these are the TT, what's your TT chassis code, or is it 8J? Yeah, 8J, that's it. On our Golf we run the 8S hubs, which are different to these. Straight bolt on, but they're different. Whether these are much different, make much difference, I'm not too sure, but this always handled very, very well. Even when it had the leaf springs on the back, when I owned it, we had some upgraded leaf springs on there and then on our anti-roll bars, and that it handled really good. But this now handles absolutely mint. So it's due a bit of tart up underneath, which when the engine's out, it's going to get a jet wash and get sorted. But you can see the size of the gearbox, it's just ridiculous, absolutely massive. So it's going to need a bit of thought when we're going to try and get this downpipe and everything sorted. I'm not convinced it's going to fit, but we'll have a go, see what we can figure. We'll go from there. But yeah, I'm sure I've missed absolutely tons of stuff that people ask. So if anybody wants to know anything, just ask us and I'll try and record it in the next video, or I'll at least answer your question in comments anyway. Yeah, we're going to be seeing a bit more of this because, like I said before, this is a totally standard engine. We never opened it up. It only done 30,000 miles or something like that when it went in. And the idea, well, get it in, get it running, get the DSG behaving, get the DSG tune how we want it, and then turn it up to more power. So that's what this is here. So this is the engine. This is the manifold that we're proposing to use, which this is the same as what's on the Golf. But the idea behind this is to bottom mount the turbo rather than top mount it, which creates some more problems. You've got to build a tip pipe and all that sort of stuff. But the idea behind it is to make sure that we've got at least the same parts on some of the cars. So when we're going to track day and stuff, we've not got a different manifold, turbo, downpipe, everything set up on the car, because if we have a problem, we can repair them at the track if we've got the spares. But if everything's different, it's going to be a bit more difficult. But anyway, that's that. So the engine. This is quite special. Don't really look much different to standard unless you know what you're looking at. But in essence, this has got the stage 3 CP3 pump on, so the biggest one we do for the 2 litre. It's got the stage 2 solenoid injectors in, which they're modified from standard. They're not just a standard one that we drop in. they're fairly large. The Citigo's got the same ones in there. The standard stage ones that we do, they will do more than 300 horsepower, but for the track and heavy use that we're going to see in this, you want the stage 2s, because once you're tipping past sort of 290, 300s, you're stretching them a bit more than you want to. The inlet manifold is from a different, this is from the earlier one as well. This is an aluminium one. It just makes fitting this the pipe from the pump a little bit easier on this, because we do things a little bit different. It's got our oil cooler takeoff on there. It's going to be having our electric water pump, but we've not done any of that stuff yet, because we're going to get it in the car and see how much room we've got. Internally then, I don't think there's anything else to talk about. Oh, this has got a 1.9 crank, sump and oil pumping as well, which is a bit heavier, a bit stronger, but the use this is going to have, we thought that might be a good idea. So internally it's got ported head that Paul's done, race cams, big valves, machine pistons for lower compression slightly, and the valve cutouts. Then we've coated them, H-beam rods, all new bearings, full ARP hardware where we can, R-head studs, basically everything. We've got a full list of what it's got, that'll be in comments and description. It's got absolutely every little trick and toy. And then I've not got the turbo here yet. I don't think it's arrived just yet, and we might have to modify it for a top mounted one or whatever. It's getting a GTD 2872 turbo on it as well. So it's going to basically, we're aiming for 450 foot-pound and 350-ish horsepower. It'd be nice to tip past 350, that's sort of the goal. So we'll see what we can do. We'll get as much as we can out of it safely, because the idea is to take it to a lot of track days and use it on the road as well. So it's got to be tuned, and the choice of parts has got to be good to achieve what we want to achieve. So hopefully we get the engine out pretty soon, and we'll have I might check back in beforehand, before it goes back in, and sort of explain some of what we're doing. But we're pretty busy the next few days, so we don't want to mess about too much if we can. So this vlogging does get in the way of doing things efficiently sometimes. So hopefully you like this video, hopefully it's not been too long, and yeah, stay tuned in for some more Caddy updates.